Right, morning guys. So still feeling a bit crappy, but not as bad as I did last night. Jesus Christ. I want to say a big thank you to all my YouTube subscribers that wished me well yesterday and hoped I'd get better. So I really appreciate that, guys. That just shows you what sort of people we have subscribing to our channel, and that means a lot to me. But anyway, I digress. Today, dishwasher, decor panel for the washing machine, get the oven in. I've booked my plumber in for Monday. So we've got to get the gas hob cut out, plinths, start getting some wall units on because the client has put a coat of paint on the ceiling. So we can second fill now and get things a little bit tidier, start getting some units on the walls. Happy days. So without further ado, let's get stuck back in. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so first job really is to get the decor panel done next to the washing machine, which will need to be secured to the underside of the worktop, secured to the wall and secured to the floor as much as possible to take out any deflection in it. So we've already marked it, so we've already got our mark in place. All we've got to do is whip that through when we saw, protect that edge, make sure we get no damp ingress into it, because obviously we did a bit of screeding under this, so we need to make sure we get a bit of protection. What I might do in this occasion is either smarm some silicone down it and rub it into the grain. That will probably be better than foil tape, because foil tape will scratch and mark and peel off after time. Okay, so we've cut the bottom. Next job we've got to do is scribe the back to make sure it fits, so we've got the same overhang. But once it's all the cuttings done, we will then protect the cut edges. So let's go mark it up and I'll show you how we do that, and then we can get stuck in with the rest of it. Okay, so we know we need an 8mm sat back so that it matches the rest of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it forward and then allow on our scribe at the back cut for the 8mm. Currently I need to measure what the overhang is at the moment, and then we need to work it out from there. So just bear with me while I do the math. Okay, so we're pushed up against there as far as it goes. We know we want an 8mm set back. So with that little marker there is our 8mm. So all we need to do is set our compass up so that it comes from the front edge to our 8mm mark, and then we can scribe that in down that side, and then that will give us our scribe, which is going to be all over the shop because this bit of wall here is really bad. It's going to have to be angled as well to get that to go in there. So without further ado, let's mark this up. As you can see, that's quite a wonky line. It also steps back, so I'm probably going to cut it dead straight, and then we need to try and do something with the wall, or they will need to do something with the wall. I'm not sure yet. I might try and scribe it. We'll scribe it for now and see how it looks. When I'm trying to scribe, I'll always cut the bulk off with my track saw first, and then I can just plane or jigsaw to the line. It makes life a lot easier. I'm just going to hit that with the planer now, back and forth a few times. I'm going to chamfer the back as well. Not 45, but chamfer the back off, because obviously the walls are all over the shop and we want this front edge to be what's hitting. It's what you see. So by chamfering the back right off will make it a lot easier for us. Okay, I think that is about as good as I'm going to get that scribe, and we are almost bang on our 8mm scribe line. So I'm happy with that now. Now I can protect all the cut edges, and then we can get that fixed in with a couple of L brackets along the top, some L brackets down the side, and then probably one or two on the bottom there. But what I might do is just chip into there a little bit so the L bracket sits a bit lower. That way then when he does his flooring, he can go over it without hitting the L brackets, and the machines will slide in a bit better. But that's the next job, and that's the finished result. We've sunk this one in the floor so that when he does his flooring, he can go over the top of it. That way he gets no lumps and bumps to interfere with the machine. We've got one at the back there, one there, and one at the front here. So that's made that solid. That's made the end of the worktop solid. So now the machine can go in. There isn't going to be a decor panel here because there isn't enough space, as you can see. So we're working with what space we have available. If I shrunk that anymore, then this door opens, the handle's already going to hit, but we can adjust the hinge. But if you had that shrunk anymore, the hinge, you wouldn't be able to do that. So you've got to take all that into consideration when you're doing your corners. You've got to allow for your handle width. You've got to have an opening space. Same on both sides. This one's a bit tighter, but again, we were governed. I mean, I could have sent that unit that way a bit more, yes, granted, but then I would have been intruding into that and they would have lost space in their cupboard. So it's all about maximising space when it comes to this sort of kitchen work. But anyway, next job, dishwasher and hob. Ricky's already working on plinths. He's already done down there. Client's doing his own flooring, his own decorating and his own tiling, so we are literally here to fit the kitchen. I've put a second skim on the ceiling, a really thin one, so hopefully that'll be dry enough for us to give another rub down, and then we can throw these wall units on today, and then be back here Monday with the plumber, finish what we can, and then when the decor panels come, it'll just be a day of throwing decor panels around and a bit of cornice probably. So hopefully next week, but I can't see Wren's being that quick on the uptake when it comes to supplying materials and parts. But we will see. Stay tuned. Okay, so, God, do I look red in the face or is it me? Anyway, dishwasher. Quite straightforward. Unpack it carefully. Always be careful with your packaging, because if there's a problem with the dishwasher, you will need to repack it as best as you can. So if you've saved and not destroyed your packaging before you fit it, you got stuff to put it back in with. Right, next job, obviously take all your pipes at the back, get them into your cabinet, which we've done. We've pulled them in through the same hole as our isolator, so they're going to then come up through the shelf, which we will then cut a little hole in for to thread the waste and the feed up for, and the power obviously plugs in there. The machine's in, so your next job you're going to do is raise it up. Now, dishwashers are designed, and they should have enough space on the feet to raise that up to the top of the worktop. Sometimes they come with extra feet, and I can guarantee you there's probably extra feet in there that I haven't taken out, so I'm going to have to pull it back out to put the feet on, but I'm getting ahead of myself as I always do. So anyway, first job, check for feet. If not, you've got some winders, in this case either side, which will wind the back feet up, and then you manually wind the front feet down. So let's have a look at that. As I suspected, there were feet, in this case 4. So a lot of dishwashers will have only 3 feet, one at the back with a central winder. I prefer these 4 feet ones because it helps you wind it up a lot easier, and you're not, when you're sliding in and out, you've got less chance of that foot breaking. And don't forget to put your foil tape on the underside of your worktop that comes with your appliance. So anyway, first job, wind the front feet up to close that gap, and then we'll wind the back feet up, and then we'll put a level on it. I've provisionally raised the feet, and then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to use the instructions to mount the door, get the door mounted, and then I don't use a spirit level on a dishwasher. I level the machine to make the door fit the kitchen. You know, and that's the best way to get it. Otherwise, you can level the machine, mount your door, and you don't get that little adjustment in the door. So then you're mucking about with the feet. So I always mount the door first, and then muck about with the feet. So without further ado, just crack the door open, get a handle on it, and start getting it mounted. Right, so we've mounted the handle. That was just a straightforward. I've set the handle jig up initially so that I can do the rest of the handles later. With dishwashers, you'll always get a fixing template like this. So obviously, make sure you're reading this. The arrows point to top of door, so you'll line that to top of the door, and then you obviously put that perimeter edge. And then all I use is this little pilot hole, just to mark all the holes that are on the drawing there. And then obviously you've got all the brackets there. So the first thing I'm going to do is tape this on down the sides, make sure I get it exactly where I want it, and then we can pilot hole the holes. Okay, so we taped it on, made sure it's dead centered. We've carefully pilot holed all our holes. Now, Wren have made a bit of a balls up. Normally an appliance door does not come with hinge holes. This is definitely the appliance door because it was in a box on its own labelled appliance door. And obviously we had to do a hole there, and I've had to do it off centre because otherwise I'm inside there. It's not a big deal because this system has these little plastic runners which slot in here. So being a little bit high on one side isn't going to be the end of the world, because I'm going to square it to the machine before I fit it anyway. But yeah, this is just one of the complications you get from kitchens, unfortunately. So next job, mount all the furniture, then we can start hanging it. Okay, so we've got all of our fittings on. Now what we've got to do is mount it to the dishwasher, which is quite simple. They lock into there and then they drop down. This is designed to slide, and then there's a little L brackets they secure in the side there. So we're just going to pull it out a little bit, mount the door, and then slide it back in. And just like that, she slides in. Don't forget to add your mounting brackets. These just go in, read the instructions, they're in the little bag of bits. They go in either side, and then I've actually got these in around the wrong way, now that I'm thinking about it. It's the joys of having a stinking cold, because they should bend down the side of the cabinet. Jeez, guys. Now they're in the right way, because you bend these like so, and that gives you a side mounting for your dishwasher. So make sure you put things in the right way around. So our next job is to make sure we secure this in place. And we've got in here, there's a little hole that lines up for the screws, which we just need to line up. Glasses on, I might actually be able to see where that hole is. There it is. So make sure you get that hole lined up, and then you get a couple of little screws like this, and you'll screw through there. And there you go, it's all screwed in. Then you get your little cover plates and just pop over those holes. Before you screw, make sure your door is flush with the top of your machine door, like so. And that's my cover plates on. So all I've got to do now is slide this back in, tweak all my doors on this side, make sure all my doors are level and flat so that I can get this door exactly the same position. So that's the next job. So I like to get all my door gaps as close to symmetrical as possible. And our worktop joint looking good as well, gap, sorry. But yeah, I think we're pretty much there gap wise. Just going to secure it now to the sides and to the worktop, and then that's the dishwasher in. Just got to plumb it in. Happy days. There we go, she's all now firmly secured in, shutting beautifully. All we've got to do now is connect her up and she'll have a working dishwasher. So that's how we do that. Next job I'm going to jump on is the hob, get that cut out, get it inset and mounted and fixed in, ready for my gas engineer. And then once that's done, I will then do the oven and the fillers and get the hob plugged in, oven plugged in. So that'll be working, dishwasher will be working, sink is working. We can get the washing machine in and get that working, and then that's all their appliances done all by the hob. Then I've got the extractor fan to mount and get that wired up, and then we can start looking at doing all the wall units. So we are pushing on. It's a slow day, we're both ill, but we will persevere. And before anybody asks why we've not used these screws, it's on this door. It's called a sliding door, so as it opens, it actually slides up and then goes flush. So that way it will never bind on the plinth. So you don't need to cut a notch out for your plinth because the door raises up. And I prefer this system, I think they're brilliant. Okay, so out of the blue, they've actually supplied us with a exact size cutout. So that's going to make it a lot easier. So I've marked my cabinet. So we've got to do is find the centre of that way, and cut it out and draw around it. Simple as that. Okay, so use the template as our guide. We've come off the front set distance. That little pencil mark is the outside of the cabinet, which we've squared off from the front, and we just made sure everything's sitting pretty. So what we've got to do now is plunge all that out and drop my hob in. Obviously, and peel the protection back. As you can see, it's got the sticker cover on it. So we just get that cut out now, and then we can create one. Okay, so holes cut out. We've had to remove, obviously, the support for the worktop for this unit, but obviously we screwed the worktop to this base unit. And while we was at it, we fitted our top support. So now we can drop the hob in, put the stuff around the bottom of the hob, drop her in, fix her in place, cut a hole through down the bottom there for our cable to go through. Anyway, let's get the hob mounted. Okay, first job, put our little foam all the way around the perimeter. You'll notice in some ovens you'll get these little things here. They are your injectors, or whatever you want to call them, but they're for LPG. So you change those if you're using LPG. We're not standard gas, so this has got to go on now. Okay, so we stuck our gasket to the underside of the hob. Hob's dropped in. All we've got to do now is put the fixing clamps in. Okay, so you get these 3 brackets. Sometimes you get 4, and they go. If you look on the underside here, you usually have arrows, but in this case they don't. So we've got one there, little hole, one hole there, and then you've got another one in the back corner. So that's where these go. You put a screw up through that and it pulls down the hob, clamps it in place. Oh dear, okay, so she's fitted one clamp there, one clamp there, and one clamp there. My gas engineer will come tomorrow and do that connection, keeping it tight to the back wall. We're going to thread the ignition cable down, put a hole in the bottom of that unit and bring a plug up and plug that in there, and then the cooker can then go in. And then we just got the filler there to do, and that is then all the base unit's pretty much done bar handles, which is not the end of the world. Christ, I feel like crap. But anyway, oven is in, wired, working. Just got to pull that out tomorrow for the not tomorrow, Monday for the plumber. So I'm just going to do the last filler. So we did the top filler while the hob was out. I'm just working out the bottom filler. I've held it in place, I've packed it, and I've drawn a line on it. Now I'm going to put some brackets on so that we can just screw it to the underside. And then when that's done, Ricky's then going to strip all that backing paper off when I'm out of the way. While he's doing that, I am going to put that wall unit up as high as we can get it, and then we're going to do the filler and then leave that in. The decor panel isn't here yet, but I can do that filler, and we're not having light pelmet, so I can build a bit of boxing out of that with some Conti board that I've bought, and then that'll be that side almost finished. And then I can start working on this side. I've got the boiler cabinet to go up, and then there's a big unit there, and then there's a fill up of some description there, and then I've got to use another bit of Conti board I've got to make a bit of boxing for that. But we're just going to play it by ear. I've got Monday and Tuesday here on my price. Obviously I've got a day to come back to do the decor panels on the wall units. Still got the extractor to fit as well. So if I'm here Monday to finish off, I won't be that upset. I need to liaise with the client to decide when to come back, when the panels are going to be here. But when I leave Monday, this will be a fully functional kitchen, and that's not a bad thing. They can use all the base units, they can use all the appliances. So that's a good start. Anyway, I digress again, as I do. I'm going to get this bit finished and then I can get out of Ricky's way, so see you in a bit. Okay, so we've got that little filler piece on. It's all looking nice now. I've got a good little tip for you. When you're trying to get cabinet height and you've got a larder unit that's already finished, because we got ahead of ourselves, and it's that close to the ceiling you can't get a level above it. So like this here, you can't get a level above. Little tip for you, I'm using the boiler. Magnetise your level to the boiler, turn it on, and all you're going to do, we're going to measure down from the inside of a cabinet to our laser line, and then from the laser line over there up to that measurement will give you top of cabinet, and then you can measure down for your bracket height. Just a handy little tip for you. So I'm going to do that now and I'll show you how it works. So show you what our pencil marks. So this laser line is 15 centimetres or 150 mil lower than cabinet height. So we've measured off up to 150, so that's top of cabinet. And these brackets need to be to this line of the bracket, this top edge needs to be 10 centimetres down. So then we measured down 10 centimetres. I could have just measured up 5, but this is for the layman. Okay, and then I've got my laser, which is now hitting the side of my decor panel on the base unit below. I've then measured in 18 mil for the decor panel, 18 mil for carcass, and that gives me my fixing point. I then measured off outside of carcass to outside carcass, which is 1 metre. I then come back in 20 mil or 2 centimetres, and that's my screw holes for my other mounting bracket. So now we can now drill those. This side, we know for a fact there's going to be a cable smack bang in the middle of this. It's a chase. So I've got to be very careful about where I screw here. I reckon I'm on the outside edge of it, but the cable's there and that's the edge of the chase, and that's very unlucky. So I'm just going to get these drilled, some nice long raw plugs, some 50 mil big screws, get the brackets on, throw the cabinet up and get it level, and then happy days, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so carefully drilled our holes, either end, we didn't hit the cable. We're using these long 50 mil Fisher fixings because these walls aren't very good, and I want to make sure I get a nice good fixing. The other thing I must make sure I do is just drill through these holes with a 5 mil bit so that I can then screw this then to the wall itself, so I get a nice solid fixing. Okay, so we drilled our holes out, that way we know now that we can now drill through there, through into the wall and get a fixing in all 4 corners of our cabinet. We're going to get the bracket screwed up, make sure we get a solid fixing. If we don't, I might have to go to Howden's and buy the long tracks, a couple of lengths of the long track, so I can screw that up there. That way I can get numerous fixings, but hopefully they'll be solid enough. But let's get our brackets up and we'll see. We've got a really solid fixing with these. The good thing with these Fisher fixings is that when you screw in a decent length screw, they compress, if you know what I mean, and expand, and this red bit explodes and fills the void, so you get really good fixing on bad walls with these. Good for breeze block and those sort of brick walls, so recommended. 50 mil, 6 mil Fisher fixings. There you go, with a little help from Ricky, as I'm not feeling it. He's lifted that up with me. We can now wind our fixings up, check our levels, measure 150 off the laser to make sure we're at the right height, and then once we're happy, we can get our fixings in at the bottom, make sure we're packed off the wall level and plumb, and then that'll be that unit done. I am debating whether to bother trying to do the fillers today. I'm not feeling 100%, and I don't want to mess it up with limited on material, so might just prioritise getting the units on the wall and maybe getting the extractor mounted, and then Monday we can do fillers and any fiddly little bits and pieces that we need to finish. Anyway, let's get it levelled. Okay, so as you know, we've measured down now, so we can now use that line to make sure that we are 150 down from top of unit, because that was our measurement, and then we can use these screws to raise it up, down, in and out, and make sure we get it all plumb and level. So the top one is to raise it up and down, the middle one is to pull it in and out from the wall, and the red one is basically a lock, and you've got that at both sides, so you adjust them to get it nice and plumb. And then we've got 2 fixing holes in the bottom right hand of the cabinet which we can then use to secure it to the wall, make sure it's absolutely solid and it's not going anywhere. And then we've got to work on this side. We've got to get the one over the boiler and this 900 unit fixed up. Second time round trying to record this because I didn't have my microphone on, so I've got to do a voiceover onto the bits of video. I'll worry about it later. But we have got this so far. That one's up, doors, shelves done. That one's up, door, shelves levelled. We've got the boiler cupboard in. Not the easiest thing to do in the world. We've got an elbow kick down there. We've got the standard mounting up there. And then we've just got some blocks and some space plugs up there and some blocks down there. No rhyme or reason to these. I've cut the cabinet right back so that they can get access up to the controls, which are, as you can see, just hiding up there. Not a lot I can do about that. I'm not wiring it. I've discussed it with the client. They're happy where it is. It's a wireless receiver anyway, so they'll only need access to it if there's ever a problem, and then I can come back and sort that out. Ricky's huffing and puffing because he's already heard me do the video once. He wants to go home. He's got a headache like me. But anyway, washing machine's in, dishwasher's up and running, oven's in and running, plumber's here Monday for the gas hob. We've still got a couple of units there and now, and do the extractor fan. The decor panels are on order. They're due next Friday, next Thursday, but it's Good Friday, and we're going to come back Easter Monday and fit them. There's only going to be a day's work, just decor panels and some cornice. We'll have everything else done by then. We'll have all the boxing in done Monday. Monday will probably be our last day. Might do a little bit Tuesday if we don't get finished, but I doubt that. But anyway, I digress again. Don't forget, guys, like, share, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you on the Monday, hopefully feeling better. Bye-bye.